Good evening. I call to order the City of Darrell public hearing and special called City Council meeting Tuesday, October 14th, 2025 at 7 p.m. First item on the agenda is a roll call. We have all members present. We'll now have an invocation and pledge of allegiance led by Councilwoman Tanya Clausen.
Heavenly Father, we come before you this evening giving you thanks for our privilege to serve the citizens of Darrell. Lord, I pray that we can all work together for the common good of our city in the roles of staff, volunteers, city council, and citizens. Lord, may we have wisdom, integrity, and a heart for our city as we make the decisions we've been entrusted to make. Lord, may we be productive and maintain your presence throughout our decisions. Thank you, Lord, for your faithfulness and provision that you give us. May your peace remain in our hearts and minds to unite us in our purpose. We ask these things in your name. Amen. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, next item on the agenda is public comments. We have quite a few of them here. We're going to start with the orange cards. We have one, Jeff Seidel. Good evening.
Jeff Seidel, 128 Katy Hill Path. I want to address the council about just a few things, and the first one will be Abigail Brown, AKA Joan Boyden, who conspired to release confidential information with Danielle Singh, who is a camper, and distributed from Tanya Clausen. Miss Sumner is Danielle's sister's father-in-law. Mr. Klepak is Patrick's uncle. And Patrick is cousins with Danielle Singh, which he never disclosed during her hiring process, even saying he didn't know her. More importantly, the fact that she sued the city of Hutto in a very similar case that she brought here, her references weren't checked, nor was she properly vetted. Abigail Brown, AKA Joan Boyden, colluded with Danielle and the city to give land to Hunter's Glen, from Hunter's Glen, for a splash pad, which was land they couldn't build on, thereby avoiding property taxes, all while making it look like it was a good thing. I could go on. I would never buy a home from Brighton Homes. Do not buy a home from Brighton Homes. There are people that are corrupt. Abigail Brown, AKA Joan Boyden, there's more to come. Lori Allen, you need to recuse yourself. Patrick needs to recuse himself from voting on a tie. 1/3 of the associates that work at Walmart, store number 1303, in the divisional market, District 81, which is where this Walmart will be, are mostly long-term employees. It would be a great relief to their families to have that store located here. More to come. Thank you. Yeah.
Your water?
Yeah, that's my water. Thank you.
Okay, we have some other public comments here. If anybody would like to speak right now, let me know. If not, I'm going to reserve these until we have all the agenda items. Okay. Moving on, agenda item number 3 is proclamations. 3.1, we have the City of Darrell proclamation, the month of October of 2025 as National Chiropractic Health Month. good by here in a second.
Yeah,
Okay.
Dr. Jennifer Gardner and Dr. Hillary Baker are here. If you want to read it, and then, are you office here in June? I do have an office here. All right, I'll give it to you then. Well, you can read it, and I'll give it to you. Okay.
Okay. The City of Gerald proclaims National Chiropractic Health Month, October 2025, whereas worldwide, back pain is the single leading cause of disability and historically one of the most common reasons why people are prescribed opioid pain medications. Whereas the number of people worldwide living with back pain is projected to increase by 36% to more than 800 million over the next 30 years. Whereas pain medications have for years been the go-to treatment for musculoskeletal conditions. However, the clinical guidelines from leading healthcare organizations now encourage patients with common pain to try non-drug treatments first. Whereas doctors of chiropractic are experts and offer a variety of non-drug approaches to treat conditions such as back pain, neck pain, and joint pain, and tension headaches, along with advice on nutrition, injury prevention, ergonomics, and lifestyle modifications for optimal health and wellness. Whereas with the theme, get started with chiropractic, chiropractors can help the citizens maintain and improve their health throughout the lifetime, and also help them to reduce their need for prescription pain medications for common conditions. Therefore, be it resolved that the mayor and the city council of the city of Gerald, Texas officially join with the American Chiropractic Association in proclaiming the month of October 2025 as National Chiropractic Health Month. She'll get you that
Perfect.
nice and pretty one.
Is that possible for you to get a quick picture?
Definitely.
Can I get one, please?
Okay. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is public hearings and regular agenda items. Agenda item 4.1, discussion, consideration, and possible action regarding ordinance number 2025-1014-04, requesting voluntary annexation of property described as being a .058 acre tract of land situated in the Isaac Bunker Survey, abstract number 54, in the city of Gerald of Williamson County, Road 313 and Cemetery Road, as a variable with public right-of-way dedication and being all of it called 14.238 acre tract of land prescribed as tract 1 on the special warranty gift deed to Jacqueline Allison, reported in document number 200-808-6839, official public record of Williamson County, Texas. And if the members that would like to speak on this topic, they're more than welcome to come up and speak. Unless you all would like to wait till after Walmart speaks.
I'll speak. Is it specifically to Walmart? We've got 4.1, 4.2, 4.3.
They're all in regards to Walmart.
Okay, then I'll come up and just make a simple statement.
Okay.
I think, as I said before, Jeff Seidel, 12880 Hill. As I said before, I know a fair amount about the Walmart that's going to be put in, and it's going to be a very modern, futuristic Walmart. I mentioned before that 1/3 of the people that work in Georgetown reside in Gerald. It would be quite a relief for them Walmart will bend over backwards to take care of everybody, and just in my small sampling of a couple hundred people maybe, about 99% of the people want Walmart here, and it would be great for us to have that. So I will kind of leave it at that, other than to say, if you will notice, the Georgetown Walmart does not have a bunch of hookers hanging around. They don't have trucks pulling in and out of their gas stations. They keep things awful clean, basically. And if you look, you will notice that all the surrounding area, you have auto shops, you have stores, you have Home Depot, you have a lot of things that revolve around Walmart. Same thing's gonna happen here. When Walmart comes in, you will find the people that live close to her, even her relatives, will wind up selling their land for quite a bit of money to Chili's or Applebee's or somebody else. I don't look at it as a bad thing. I think it would be excellent for us. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we'll start public comments.
Mayor, I would say this first item, 4.1, is dealing specifically with the annexation. If anybody has comments on that, maybe have them come up, and if they want to talk about the rezoning, maybe have them, if that's, maybe ask them. If you have comments about annexation. Okay.
Kind of the same thing.
No, they're
Come
different.
on up.
They're all different processes that need to be.
My name's Louis Sonic, I live at 950 East County Road 304. I had a comment about the road annex. It says voluntary annex of the county road out there. Does the county come up to y'all and just say, we want to be in your city and sign some papers and turn it over like that? Or it says voluntary, so they must have come in and asked y'all to annex that road. So I don't know how that process works. Also, I heard Mr. Seidel, he talked about all the wonderful things that Walmart wants to do. Well, if y'all will tell them all your plans, your roads and everything you want them to do, they'll have to do it. But you have to do it now before they get situated, or they won't do it. And so you need to, and do some research on this, see what y'all really need out there. Because I've heard a lot of comments and stuff and from the P&Z and from the city council, and I never hear anybody say, well, we've got this committee that went and researched this and this is what we come up with. I don't never hear any of that. I don't know, you may be doing it, I don't know. But there's a lot of things that need to be done. I mean, if they're gonna have a nice Walmart, they're gonna have to have big wide roads, probably curved roads, sidewalks going up there, because it's close, they're gonna wanna walk there. So you're gonna have a lot of different things that y'all need to really consider, that y'all need to ask from them before they get started. Thank you.
Would you like to present now?
I can or I can wait, Mayor, whatever.
Is your presentation on the annexation or on the rezoning?
I think it just covers everything that we're doing, just to provide context to all the actions.
Is there anybody else that would like to speak right now before Walmart gives their presentation?
Hello guys, my name is Alex Broom, and of course, most of you guys know me. My wife and Elizabeth Broom, own the property that Walmart is gonna butt up to. And like Louis said, that's a big question. We all love Walmart. We go there and get our hunting licenses, we go and get our groceries there. We know how good they are. We know that place could be good. I don't think it is because of the roads for sure right now. And, like Louis said, if we can get something a little more solid about our road structure, usually, when you build something, a commercial building, the road is equipped, and there's manholes there that you shoot grades off of your drainage to the height of your building. You know, and we've gone through it in Slater, you know, and they're ahead of times on some of their projects. The roads are there, it was easy for the developer. I don't know how these things work, if they start tearing the ground up and then they start shooting grades. So the road is built after the Walmart, or is it done before? And is it just gonna extend up to their property line? And then we're screwed to where you still gotta pull over if you have a truck the size of mine, which is not anything special or a big rig, it's just a regular Ford truck. But you cannot drive down that road pulling hay. I can't imagine turning now, going in through the subdivision, hauling hay, pulling cattle through there and getting around all that without the roads. You know, I don't know how distinct Walmart was with their surveying. You know, I'd like to know if they know how many accidents have happened there the past 6 months. Do they know? I know that there was one there this past weekend, and y'all should have seen the traffic coming through those little Hugh Smith Road and FB Swindle. It was hectic, you know, we couldn't get out of there, and that was just a little accident. I can't imagine a Walmart having 700 car parking lot, having the flow that runs through those puny ass roads that we have. Why can't we get these roads done? Why can't we get them to, you know, I'd like to have them claw something, you know, I mean, put your money where your mouth is, you know, let's, you know, you need a road, does it come behind Walmart on our property? You know, we'd like to get compensated what Walmart paid for that property, you know, or Lewis, does it go through his to get to the service road? You know, he had a pretty good opportunity to set himself and his family good too with that QT, and we took that from him. I'm trying to understand the politics because it seems like our hands are tied when we want them to be tied, and then they're free whenever we want them to be. You know, I think that we need to do a little more research on what everything that's evolving, and at least give us the time to figure out what our move is. Because we're gonna fight to the very end. And if we can get a week, 2 weeks, you know, we're to the point to where we gotta have legal advice, you know, on what our options are. You know, where's the sewer? You know, is it gonna run down the road, down the creek, Willis Creek? Let's get started on some of that stuff. And then let's, you know, let's bring in these big businesses. You know, it might be too late now with Walmart, you know, but if it's not, I would like to have more time for the neighbors at Walmart. Walmart hasn't talked to any of us. They don't, you know, we're in the dark with all that, you know, and even though we're related to the owner of the property, we're still in the dark. We, you know, we don't communicate enough to know what our next step should be, you know, and I just feel like, there needs to be a little bit more time before this decision is made, and everybody needs to be on the same page. You know, we're not against Walmart, none of us are. You know, we love it, but we don't want to see a fatality happen and then say, oh no, okay, we do need the roads, we got to take it. We, you know, we want to have something flawless, grandfathered in now, that will protect us also. You
We
know?
understand, it's got 3 minutes.
Okay.
Thank you.
So I say-
Thank you.
My name is Tom Slobey at 705 Little Road. Regarding the annex and the development of bringing Walmart to this community, a lot of people don't understand the difference of how developer-driven improvements are made to the community and then they're given to the community. I did this when I developed behind Starbucks. I built the road. I didn't ask the city for money, and I donated the road to the city. This is exactly what Walmart is going to be doing. Walmart is going to be improving the roads, widening the roads, and then donating it to the city. The city does not do the roads, install the utilities, install the sewer, install the water first before and allow a developer to come in. That's taking advantage of the city. This is done opposite. This Walmart, in conjunction with Walmart will improve the roads, improve the utilities, improve the infrastructure, and develop a really, really nice site. In addition to that, they'll be bringing a ton of tax revenue to the city that will allow them to actually do other projects, allow the city to do other projects, including improving roads in downtown Gerald and all of the other areas, okay? As far as the donation of the, or the voluntary removal of the road, or the diversion of the road, I should say, it was done in downtown Gerald multiple times. If you have an owner that owns one side of the land and an owner that owns another side of the land, they can request from the city and the county to have that road abandoned. It's been done multiple times in Gerald alone. So this is nothing new. This is exactly the same thing that's been done multiple times. The area is planned according to the comprehensive plan to be regional commercial. This is what the city council has passed and requested that our development of our city look like. So they're not doing anything that's outside of the ordinary. They are coming in, requesting an annexation of a property and rezoning of a property into the proposed planned zoning of commercial. So it's not anything that's out of the ordinary. It's something that's been in place for almost 5 years, okay? It's nothing out of the ordinary. Thank you.
Anybody else that would like to speak and fill out a card before the meeting?
Hi, my name is Danielle Mitchell. I'm at 109 Zoysite in the county. Evening, council. Here to speak on what's right for the small town of Gerald. Much of the discussion around Walmart has become emotionally charged rather than centered on the real needs of the community. We live in a densely populated area with only one nearby grocery option, reachable by a long walk, a bike ride, or a short drive. Unfortunately, the store is known for high prices and limited selection. Many families in our community simply cannot afford to shop there regularly. Even generic products cost significantly more than Walmart's Great Value brand. Bringing Walmart to Gerald would give residents a much-needed choice in where they buy their groceries and help put more money back into their pockets. Our time is valuable in today's world. Recently, it took me 58 minutes to travel to Georgetown Walmart, purchase one item, and return home. A Walmart in Gerald would save 40 minutes of that trip, time that could instead be invested in my household, my family, and my community. Walmart gives back. Sorry, it's a little near and dear to me. Food insecurity is a challenge many citizens face every day, lacking consistent, dependable access to nutritious food. This issue directly affects health outcomes, increasing the risk of high cholesterol, hypertension, and other chronic conditions. It is recognized as a key social determinant of health. In 2023 alone, Walmart donated more than 778 million pounds of food to help fight hunger across communities. Walmart will do the right thing for Gerald. Walmart is committed to supporting local schools and communities. They actively contribute to Texas FFA, nearby ISDs, helping students succeed. Through their Smart Good program, schools can apply for grants to provide essentials such as shoes and school supplies. Walmart has a proven record of doing the right thing, and they'll do the right thing for Gerald. Walmart will create job opportunities for local residents, providing them with a shorter commute to work. It'll also give our younger generation the chance to apply for positions with a large, well-established organization, helping them gain valuable experience and develop strong customer service skills. In closing, Walmart represents more than just a store. It's a partner in our community, one that will save us time, create local jobs, support our schools, and help feed families in need. Let's welcome the opportunity to make Gerald stronger together. Thank you.
Okay, anybody else that filled out the card would like to speak?
I'm Walt Heidman, I live in the county on County Road 302. However, we do depend on Gerald, and we can't wait to see the improvement coming from adding a Walmart store to town. When we first bought the property in 2009, it took us 2 years to start building, clearing, and working on the property. Always wondering, are we making the right move? Because we would go to Gerald and we'd go, yuck, there's nothing here. There really was nothing here. Oh, then Brookshire Brothers came. Oh, okay, we got a chance to have something close by. As this lady just mentioned, and many have before the other meetings too, Brookshire Brothers is, in our mind, a crutch. Unfortunately, very small selection, prices are not attractive. Personalities are not attractive. Walmart's always very friendly. They have greeters at the store. When you walk in, they do take care of any complaints anybody has with any of their products extremely well. So enough of that on patting on Walmart on the back, except I do have to pat them on the back with one leg. In 2014, we heard the rumor that property developer bought the corner of property that will intersect with 35 and Ronald Reagan on the southwest corner, and there will be a H-E-B going in there. 11 years ago, folks. Rumors don't die, they're too quick. So it would be very sad if the rumor started that people start thinking maybe H-E-B's got something going here. Are they trying to stop Walmart? We sure hope not. Because I think quite the opposite would happen. If Walmart came into town, you would have H-E-B coming in within the next year. No problem. You would also have every single restaurant chain you can think of. Go down to Georgetown, go to North Georgetown, the newer places. That's what we would have. Do we need all that? Some people say no. I would rather go take my wife out for dinner 5 miles from the house, 10 miles from the house. I do not relish driving on 35 anymore. Our state has left us down with police protection. It's going to get nothing but worse. It gets more congested. Let's all have a home here where we can do business here, because there are businesses in town that we can depend on that we don't have now. Very sad if this whole thing doesn't get going soon, because we are all tired of driving to Georgetown or Temple. This is everybody has said. We need to have this in Gerald, and I'm really requesting that you all consider this. We've heard the stories about Walmart. Let's get real. We went to the information meeting. The information meeting showed everything of the sewer drainage, the planning was all laid out. People come in here today and say, oh, they don't know enough about this. It was there, it was publicized. Very great informative meeting. Nothing was left out. Give them the chance and let them show what they can do to this town.
Thanks. I wait, but I can't wait. It's exciting. I'm Jenny Roberts, Axelrod. I live at 120 here at Callahan. I'm outside of the city boundary, but I'm very much affected by this decision. And I spoke the other day at the Planning and Zoning Board meeting. One of the things that I am really excited about the location of this Walmart going to be is that it's going to let other businesses like the H-E-B and all the different restaurants know that Gerald is open for business. that particular corridor is on I-35. So as much as it's an emotional decision and it's very, very tied to history and tradition, that location is, there's just no way it's not going to be a commercial build because of its location. And I firmly believe, following through with the Walmart at that location, it's going to be a little bit tricky for a while with the roads and whatnot. However, I can tell you, while you might be very worried about the roads and so forth, Walmart is not going to lay down, Walmart is not going to come in and start building this giant building, bringing in semis to build this giant building without laying down the infrastructure to support those trucks and to support those buildings. So while it's going to be a little bit messy for a while, ultimately it's going to be a whole lot better for the commercial industries going on there. It's going to be difficult for the people who live there. I think they will be amazingly compensated, and there will be some changes, but I think they'll ultimately be positive changes. The story, I'm not going to buy any pharmaceuticals at Walmart because I just don't trust them. I don't want I think it's really important to know that very smart people handle my medicine, and that's just all there is to it.
Thank you.
One thing I want to get back to is the annexation question. Walmart's going to end up putting that store there, I firmly, firmly believe. I truly believe that if you don't actively choose to annex this property and bring it into the Gerald Town city limits, you're going to lose out on really excellent tax potential tax revenue that's going to be really important. The city of Gerald really needs additional tax revenue. I would really, like I said the other day at the planning and zoning meeting, I would really like to see some of the philanthropic activities that Walmart is known for, like be directed toward our woefully underfunded library. That would be good. But I think that a lot of good things can happen with this new bill, and I think we need to have the patience and the fortitude to see it through. So.
You're in my shot. Hey, you're in my shot. Yes.
I'm Kevin Mallory, one of my Rooster White. Hello, everyone. I live in the Coolwater area and drive to the Georgetown Walmart at least once a week. Having the Walmart in the proposed location would be life-changing for me and the community. I wouldn't mind the additional local traffic if it meant not having to drive on 35 where there's almost an accident every day. The convenience would be unmatched for those of us who don't want to risk our lives just to get food for our families. I'm excited for what this means in terms of other stores, restaurant, and growth in the area. I speak for hundreds of young Geraldites that couldn't be here or think it's already a done deal. Please say yes and change Gerald for the better. Thank you.
Okay, anybody else who would like to speak to this letter card?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Rusty Bryson. I live at 218 Meadow Valley Loop. I'm going to ask you to put your hearts aside and think about the city of Gerald. I hear everybody talk about how much tax money that the city's going to get. You and I know that's not true. You and I know about an agreement. You and I know that that agreement could change in 3-4 years, which could leave the city of Gerald getting 0 taxes. In the meanwhile, if we do take it in, we're on the hook for maintaining the roads. We won't have money coming in. It's a possibility. So what I'm asking you to do, please, do your research. Think about Gerald 3 years down the road, 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road. Don't think of just today. Sure, I like Walmart, but I don't want it there for many reasons, and one of them I just talked about. So please think of that. There are things that could happen that are beyond our control. So think of that. I appreciate your work. I appreciate you seriously thinking about the future of Gerald.
Thank you. All right, we have one more public comment about Walmart. Bamba, they would like to speak now or after? Okay.
He was here.
This time, would Walmart like to present?
Mr. Mayor, good evening. Glad to be with you and the rest of the members of the council today. Good evening, and also a big thank you to the members of the Planning and Zoning Commission who I saw last time we saw them. They were voting on this tough issue, and it was really crowded. I didn't get to say thank you, so thank you. And to everybody that's seen this presentation multiple times, I apologize. I know a lot of folks have been very interested and have followed us throughout. My job today is to try to give you as much information as possible to answer any questions you might have so that you can make the best decision you can for Gerald with all the information you have. So with that, I'm Ivan Jaime. I'm the Director of Government Affairs with Walmart. I'm based out of San Antonio, and I am joined today by some of my colleagues and some of our representatives. Henry Gilmore, who's General Counsel. We got Scott Espen and Ken Espen somewhere back there. Carolyn Cook, who's our civil engineer on the project, and Jack Carver, who is our real estate development director within Walmart. So this is going to be, or this could be for us, about a $70 million project. And although Walmart is a big company, $70 million is not pocket change, especially when it is private funding that is being invested in the community. It is a very substantial sum that we would be investing here in town. The store would be one of our supercenters, which is 181,000 square feet, more or less. We would expect to have about 300 associates at opening, and that usually grows to about 350 to 400 once we are operating at full capacity. And it would be one of our store of the future concepts. And what this means is Walmart stopped building stores, and really most of the retail industry slowed down brick and mortar construction of retail stores sometime in the 2015 to 2017 range, which for Walmart, the last crop of Walmarts that we built in Texas was early 2017. And the reason for that is this was kind of really when the e-commerce wave was the strongest, and we just really weren't sure what would happen with brick and mortar retail stores. And so Walmart paused, and then shortly after that, the pandemic hit, and you saw less people going into stores. And so we really hadn't constructed anything else until an announcement we made about 2 years ago or so, where we announced that we were going to start growing again. At that point, we've seen enough data that people are returning back into retail stores. They are going in and shopping in person, but they're doing so in a little bit of a hybrid way. And so store of the concept future for us just means more of a focus on technology, innovation, and convenience. And what that means is there's some people that still enjoy coming into the store, and I always use my own family's example because I think we highlight this. Every time I talk to my mom, she's usually at Walmart buying something or filling some sort of prescription. I am a creature of habit. I'm more of a curbside pickup. I haven't been inside of a store in a really long time. I just back my truck up and I get the same groceries all the time. And then I haven't figured out how my wife shops because we get random packages and random bags at different hours. And our stores are equipped to do that. We have fulfillment, what we call micro fulfillment centers or accelerated fulfillment centers within our stores. So if you order something on Walmart.com, it isn't coming from a warehouse in Dallas, it's actually coming from your local Walmart. And of course, as was mentioned already today, what has made Walmart the #1 retailer in the world is just the everyday low prices. So it is a focus on leveraging scale at a very grand scale and an expertise in logistics. So at the core of it, Walmart is a logistics company, and then passing those savings on to our customers every day, not just on sales events, so that they can afford our products. This store would have a full-service pharmacy where we would have a room for consultations. Pharmacists, as the councilman would know, are doctors in pharmacy, right? They are professionals that can do more than fill prescriptions. They can actually give you some medical advice up to a certain amount that law allows. We would also have an eye center and an optical area, and we would have the ability to deliver your prescriptions to your home the same day that you order them if you're a member of what we call our Walmart Plus model. The value proposition that we point to our employees, one of the things that isn't mentioned very often, and I think that this is something that I've mentioned before and I think you should feel proud of, is Walmart believes that we can find 300 qualified employees. And in fact, you need more than 300 because there's always churn in your workforce. So whenever we look at Jarrow, we see that there is a strong public school system, and we see that it is within close proximity to technical colleges and community colleges. And so we do think we can be successful here. There's some areas where we might not feel the same way, but in here in Jarrow, we think we can find the workforce. And that workforce could go to Austin, or they can go to Waco, or they can go elsewhere to work. So we do believe we need to put a value proposition that attracts a variety of employees. So what does that mean? We do offer benefits to our employees, medical and dental, and we also offer a free college. So now if you work at Walmart, you can take classes through several universities that we have partnerships with, and you can graduate with a degree, and hopefully you will move up your career with Walmart. We also make an appeal to military members and families and vets because what we know is that they're looking for consistency, so they can work for a big company like Walmart and then they get reassigned and they gotta move. They can find another Walmart, they can transfer easily. So we try to bring a value proposition. Believe it or not, I know oftentimes people joke about breeders, but we also bring people back into the workforce, and that's a really critical component for us. People that maybe are retired or semi-retired, but then they say, hey, I could go work at Walmart and I could help people find certain products, or I could get a job here and there. It's also a very key demographic for us as well to keep our stores running. We've invested very heavily into how much we pay our employees. We know that in the past that had been something that prevented us from hiring the best employees that we could. So we have raised prices about 30% since 2020, and the average pay now is about $18 to $20, plus the benefits that we mentioned, and plus career progression. And what we're most proud of, we're now building academies within our Walmarts, and what that means is basically technology. There is a ton of new technology going into the stores that some might be visible, some it's kind of in the back room, but we need to continue to train our employees on technology, and that's also why we can justify the higher wages, because they're no longer just doing labor per se, they're actually working and interfacing with technology and with people. A lot has been said about tax revenue. I'm not sure about some of the comments that were made. What I can tell you is that we pay taxes. We pay property taxes. Whenever you build a $70 billion facility, you're going to have a property tax bill on that you're going to have to pay. And then we sell a lot of items that are taxable, and so we need to collect sales taxes on those items, and we have to remit those taxes. Our best estimate is that it would be about $1.5 to $2.5 million combined between property tax and sales taxes. About 80% of that would be in sales tax revenue. What do most cities where we operate, what do they use those funds for? They're usually for public services, whether that's a new fire station, a new fire engine, a new library, I know that's been mentioned today, whether that's new schools, equipment for the schools, parks, roadways, infrastructure. That's usually what it's used for. I've also added another thing into that I wanted to mention to y'all today, that I was in a meeting in Waxahachie, we were discussing a facility as well, and one of the council members made a point that stuck with me, is he said, with what the legislature is doing to limit how much property taxes can increase in a place that's growing like Jarrow, where property values are going up, you're limited how much you can increase property taxes. And so you need to have a retail base to be able to sustain services, or pretty soon you're gonna have to cut services. So that is a very important factor that I did wanna mention. A lot has been made about what we do. I think Walmart's done really well in terms of getting engaged in our communities. Up the road here in North Texas, we were just named the Retailer of the Year in terms of helping the food bank, because we donate a lot of food. Anything that's within those four walls of the store, we can donate pretty easily. You got a band going to a state competition. Hey, can you load up our bus with water, with snacks, with bananas, with apples? Yes, we can. We have a senior citizen center where, you know, we're looking for presents, whatever. Anything that we sell within the four walls is fairly easy for us to be able to donate. Our stores have those budgets to do that. And what we really have leaned into, especially because we've learned, is as natural disasters strike, whether that be flooding like we saw in Kerrville or hurricanes, we realized that we were getting calls from the state government or from the federal government saying, we can't get our trucks in. Can Walmart get water there? Can Walmart bring ice? Can Walmart bring fans? Can Walmart bring batteries? And oftentimes we can get in there quicker than the government because we have the existing warehouses, the existing distribution centers, essentially the stores. In a time of a severe emergency can become a distribution center. We can set up things on the parking lot, distribution of water, of food and things. And so, that is something that we really pride ourselves on and that we can offer any of our communities. I will skip through some of that right now to first discuss this, which is the site, right? The site question, especially early on, was one of the questions that we're getting, and we've come to understand that from the outside looking in, there's a lot of land available throughout. So I did want to walk you through a little bit about how we did it. So, as I mentioned, we are coming out of a pause. You can Google, look it up, search it. Since 2017, we've opened up one store in Texas, and that's in Cypress, just north of Houston, in August of this year. And that's just because we got it built within 12, 15 months. But we haven't been building a lot of these stores. So whenever we decided the market was right for us to begin building new stores, you wouldn't be surprised to know that one of the first things we started looking for was growth, population growth. So we look at Texas, and we know that Texas is growing dramatically. Where is the biggest growth? When you're going to invest $70 million of your first funds back into stores, where do you want to go? Jarrow lit up. Jarrow was one of the areas that lit up, along with maybe a dozen others. So we look at that growth, and then we start looking for what needs exist in that community. Sure, there's a lot of growth, but what needs exist in that community? So we started seeing that there was a lot of what we call leakage. We started looking. You've heard everybody today says they shop at Walmart in Georgetown. Well, we know that too, right? We know where our customers are coming from, and so we see there's a lot of leakage coming from this area, shopping at our stores in other areas. So we know there's an untapped market here. That there's a need, and we know exactly what people are buying. They're buying groceries, right? They're buying those types of things. Then we look at the workforce availability, right? Do we have enough workforce now and then tomorrow to be able to continue this store running? It takes a whole lot of effort to keep a Walmart running. If you ever go see how people are running around all sorts, you stock that store overnight. To those of us that have unloaded a truck before, it's a lot of work to unload one 18-wheeler now. Try to unload 10 to 12 of those at night. It just takes a lot of labor. So once you decide all that, it's like, great, wonderful, can we open here? So then you start looking for what we call attractive land. Is there land available where people are willing to sell it in an area where it makes sense to us? And so we found land that was available with people willing to sell it that were advertising it. Then we look to see, okay, is it in a commercial area or an area that could become a commercial area within an area? Well, it is part of the city's long-range commercial plan. So at that point in time, in real estate, especially in a very competitive environment like the one that we operate in, you see that land, you just figure this out. How quickly do you think the competition can figure this out? Pretty quickly too. You right away try to scoop that up, and then you come into the city and you say, we know there's barriers and there's obstacles that need to be overcome. Can we overcome them together? Here's our value proposition. What are we missing? What else do you need to know? And then we take our message directly to who would be our customers, right? At the end of the day, we can open a great store, we can invest a lot of money, and if nobody comes and shops it, we will have failed. So we start questioning, what do you think about Walmart? So we conducted and we commissioned a third-party study, a third-party survey of sentiment in Jarrow. And what we find, basically the way that this works is you call, I think it was 150 people, 120 people, and you establish a baseline support. Are you familiar with a proposed Walmart in town? how likely are you to support this project? So just the baseline of support before any other questions was about 65% of respondents. That doesn't mean that 35% were opposed. Some were opposed. I think it hovered somewhere in the 12 to 15%. Others didn't know about it or they were neutral on it. They just really didn't care one way or another. Then we started asking questions and we started saying, okay, we're gonna read a series of questions and tell us if that would make you more likely to support the project. So about 80% support once we told them that we plan to be civically engaged and we plan to support local philanthropy. 82% once we started talking about the tax base and how that helps to keep residential taxes low and to keep city services. And then it went up as high as 85% when we talked about local access to groceries and a greater variety of products and services. Support never dropped below 60%. So we have a tremendous amount. Now, we also held a neighborhood meeting. If you all will recall, we went to Planning and Zoning Commission in July, and it was very evident that the Planning and Zoning Commissioners and the citizens hadn't heard enough about the project to make an informed decision. So we were asked to please have a public town hall and to have more meetings. So we did, and as was mentioned before, we had provided as much information as we could. By our best counts, we had about 120 to 150 people there. And then we asked people if they were leaving and they would share their email with us. 65 people shared their emails with us, and about 80 to 90% of them were in support of the project. In fact, they gave us permission to follow back up with them, and we have since run a campaign where we've asked people to visit a Walmart microsite where we say, this is Walmart. If you want to learn more about Walmart from Walmart, click on this site. Once they learn more about it, they can either send us questions or they can reach out to their city officials if they'd like. As of today, which we haven't sent them all, but we have 500 support emails from Gerald area residents. So we think that the support, that's why, not to be facetious, but I put on the site, love at first sight, and then I put over here, and Gerald voters love Walmart too, because I think what we have heard from them is that they love us too. And then I added this, the reason why it says Frisco is, we had a grand opening. Frisco's the second store. In fact, I said only with Cypress. We opened Frisco on October the 1st. It's the second store we've opened since 2017. If you guys are familiar with Frisco, that's where the Dallas Cowboys opened their training facility most recently. That's where, what's the name of that? Universal Studios is planning to open a theme park. WrestleMania was just held in Frisco. They have a tremendous amount of growth. They welcomed us in there. And what caught my eye the most was the Frisco pride. It wasn't just Walmart pride. So I guess the employees went to their store manager and they said, hey, can we make shirts that say Frisco? And the store manager said, yeah, absolutely. So they make different kinds of shirts. Those are just 3 random employees I found. I said, can I take a picture of your shirt? I think it's cool. And then they had that display that says Frisco on the top. I thought that was really neat. They created that. That's not Walmart telling our associates, we want you to create that. This is their own pride. And I loaded it up to ChatGPT and I said, can you make it say Gerald? I was just playing with it, and they did. ChatGPT made it say Gerald. And so I just wanted to share that with you because I think it's, people would be proud to shop there, people would be proud to work there, and with that, I'd be happy to answer any tough questions or any questions that you might have.
All right, I noticed, she came up here and said, in a few years, Walmart won't pay any taxes. Now, you say how you're gonna help the community with this, help the community with that. And I suspect that Walmart has a pretty good division of lawyers. And we probably can't match your lawyers. Will you come in here in just a few years and try to get the tax base that you send to Gerald and help the community low as you can get? Is that part of the store's way to, because right now I'm thinking you'll pay us like 1/3 of 1% of your profits. And you'll try to lower the taxes as soon as you guys can. What, can you give us any confidence that's not gonna happen?
Yeah.
So it's my understanding that, so y'all are paying taxes, full property tax as far as the entity that it represents.
Yeah.
That's my understanding.
Yeah.
And then, so I think the item in question, and I'm still seeking additional information, so some of this evening may be complicated. The item in question as it relates to tax, relates specifically to sales tax. And that would be in conjunction with the annexation and how we would proceed. that sales tax is currently, allocated to ESD. And there's an interlocal agreement between the city and ESD, but those are discussions yet to come. So I think anything that was proposed as far as tax fix goes.
I don't really think he needs your help, I'm waiting for him to answer.
Yeah, but that's the way.
Go ahead, I'm waiting for you. You're the guy from Walmart that's you're gonna tell me, yes, we will never try to lower our taxes.
Okay, so if I think, Councilman, if I understood your question, let me try to answer it this way. It's irrelevant, the number of lawyers we have, because I think if we wanted to, we could have come up differently. We need services, right? So the sales tax rates are set forth by the state, I believe it is. And then the local tax rates are set forth by you guys, and the state is always passing new laws about how you can affect taxes or not. Every taxpayer has their own opinion about how much value their property is worth. We do in our own homes, we do as business owners. So what I can tell you is that you can call any other city where Walmart operates, and we operate in 600 cities, and you can ask how has Walmart been as a corporate citizen. And anybody from the public can do that, and they can call other areas. And I think what you would find out is Walmart pays their taxes. I don't understand why there would be a supposition otherwise, but we do not intend to circumvent that. In fact, the reason why we're being asked to be annexed is because we need the services, and that's kind of the social contract, right? The cities provide services, and there needs to be revenue and taxes to provide for those services. Otherwise, there's no services.
So you're not gonna do that.
I don't know what question you're asking, Councilman. I'm a little confused.
You're never gonna bring in a bunch of lawyers and try to get your taxes lower.
We started this.
We haven't done that to date. We never bring groups of lawyers into cities to try to get our taxes lower. That's not how it works.
Okay.
On the opposite side of that, and first of all, thank you for your patience and attending multiple meetings. I mean, I do believe that y'all are making efforts to be a good partner. And I appreciate the town hall, the survey, and all the emails that you've shared with us so far. So thank you for your due diligence and patience and trying to be a good partner. But my questions are gonna be related to the opposite effect. I need to know what takes place if we don't annex you. Is there an intent for you to proceed accordingly? Will Walmart try to still build without annexation?
Yeah, so, your question being about if we plan to build without annexation. So here's what I can tell you, Councilwoman, is there's a reason why I put love at first sight. This is a site we're in love with. This is where we intend to build. We're asking to be annexed. If that is declined, we're aware of legislation that allows different paths, but we're here asking to be annexed and to be provided services. So we do have every intent to build on that side either way.
How does that then impact the piece that's currently in the city?
Well, there is a part of the property that is within the city limits, and there's one that is not, and it's within the ETJ, and I should have been clear about that. When I reference the legislation, there's legislation that allows for an exit from an ETJ and from city limits if necessary. So I'd have to look at that further, but that's what we would explore absent a positive reception from the council and a decision to annex our property.
So where can they de-annex that section? Is there anything that would allow us to stop that de-annexation?
They can voluntarily request the annexation, and there's no venue for the city to deny it. The legislation took away the city's power to deny voluntary de-annexation.
That then would have it as just an ETJ. Because my understanding, I guess my concept is that Walmart's making every effort to proceed in our ETJ and in our city limits. That's what I'm understanding.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Councilman.
Thank you. Any comments?
Yeah, I guess I had some here. It's very emotionally based, very heated tonight. I've heard both sides. I truly agree that we do need a Walmart. I truly do. But I've also heard from the other side, and I guess I would, maybe Jorge will be able to answer this, how this clears it up, but on January 9th of 2024, quote, "We don't want them coming from 1105, 4 miles or 3 miles up 35 or 305 and then 307 coming up to 35. It's not a very good plan for traffic." But on October 8th, 2025, it's going to be a little inconvenience on traffic. So what magically changes, because let's be honest, that intersection right there, 35, it takes a while to get across, okay? Now, we're not only gonna have folks from Sonterra going to Walmart, we're gonna have folks from this side of the interstate coming in, we're gonna have folks coming from Salado, we're gonna have folks coming from halfway to Georgetown. So we're gonna be increasing quite a bit of traffic there. How does it magically fix itself in a span of a year and a half? One of the other concerns that during that conversation was, we don't want 18-wheelers, but we're gonna have 10 to 12 per night coming through there. So we've got the trucks there. Secondly, there was a quote, concerns regarding repairing the road 2, 3, 4, 5 times now that's in the city limits. Well, if we annex it, that falls on us, So for me to vote, how does this traffic issue? Because for me, it's about the traffic. I'm not worried about the money. I'm not worried about somebody's property. I'm worried about people getting around.
For the transportation aspect, and I think the engineer from Walmart can second me on that one. You can never get rid of traffic. You can only manage the traffic. Walmart is going to have a valid traffic impact analysis recently done this year, and that traffic impact analysis will dictate the improvements that need to be made in that road. On top of that, county has a project in the other side of the highway to improve the roadway. Are you gonna see relief immediately? That's your question. No, it's gonna take time, like everything, but there are projects in place that will alleviate the traffic in that product. Again, traffic, you can only manage traffic. And as the city keep growing, traffic is always gonna be there.
I know traffic's gonna be there, but it's one property owner told us in January of last year, that the intersection Seabud Stockton's a nightmare. I think I sat through it a good 30 minutes. Well, probably not 30 minutes, but me trying to get to the other side to go to the pharmacy, 15 to 20, and I'm watching people doing some illegal stuff just so they can get through it. So, I just don't see how this is going to just magically improve itself.
It will take time. And that's something that happened everywhere. It happened in Georgetown, in Wolf Ranch, it happened in Williams Drive. Every time the store comes in, it's a little bit chaotic, traffic is a little bit chaotic at the beginning until improvements are made. Another study is conducted, retiming the signals can also be added. I think part of the improvement they're proposing that I've seen is a turning lane. That helps because that will free space for the ones that need to go across and allow people to turn freely into the highway, the frontage. I don't think there's any math or any engineer that can tell you precisely how much is going to be. We can tell you, yes, the traffic can be managed.
Why don't you all take a ride on County Road 314, past the new school that was just recently built, see the traffic there, see the unpaved road. I'm gonna call it what it is. It's a crutch. There's no line in the middle of the road anywhere. Everybody's taking their risk driving on this road, and you all have all this growth from cool waters and everything else going on out there, all these people that have never lived in the country, driven on a road without a stripe down the middle of the road. And you're talking about planning and understanding and studying and all that?
Okay,
I
thank you.
think there's a
The
lot of
time for public comment was earlier.
And in your same council meeting back in January, quote, "Q2 will promise you anything you want, but we don't want it." That's a quote from January 2024 meeting. Walmart will promise you anything we want. So I don't know the difference. How's that changed? Also, again, with the trucks, he pointed out a very good thing. You know, back in 2024, we don't want QT, no trucks, no trucks, no trucks. There's gonna be trucks there every night at the Walmart. What's changed? What I wanna know is, who knew about Walmart in January of 2024?
Why did anybody? I want to go back to the question that you asked, where is that I think that there's been still continued expressed concern on whether or not Walmart will pay taxes. And, I mean, it's my expectation they'll pay all taxes without, I mean.
This is steady.
So we're.
Can I speak, Councilmember, can I speak to this a little bit on the tax? Walmart will have to pay their sales tax. What I think the concern is how will that be allocated? Because there is an interlocal agreement between City of Gerald and Williamson County Emergency Services District Number 5. That is between the ESD and the city on how sales tax are allocated. Walmart's not party to that. They wouldn't be, because they're going to have to pay them. They have to pay, or their customers pay it, and then they turn it over to the state, and that's distributed. They're gonna have to pay it. It's going to be right now how that agreement sits, the city and the ESD are subject to it. It can't be changed unilaterally by either side on how those are allocated as new ETJ properties come into the city, as they're annexed. There is a 50-50 split right now, what that agreement says. For the 2% portion that is the city, state at 6.25, and then your city allocation is 2, and then that's split. That agreement would be, for any kind of renewal of that agreement, would be further discussions between the ESD and the city. That Walmart's got to pay those taxes, that's how they're allocated. I don't know if they've approached the EDC on any type of tax abatements or tax incentives for property. Those are different. That would be that's a different topic. I don't know if they have done that. I don't know, Jorge, to your knowledge, have they approached EDC on anything? Okay. So if they have not, if they're not receiving any kind of property tax abatements, then at this point, they'd be paying their property taxes.
There's no way to have a room full of lawyers come and change that they'd have to pay their tax.
I mean, they get to argue to the county like I do, that my property tax, the value of my property is too high. They could make that argument. They can still, they can approach the EDC for tax incentives through the EDC, but they can't change the sales tax. That is set, and then how that's allocated will be between the city, ESD.
And in due respect to the concerns of traffic, I am saying with the heavy concerns for traffic. But if, my largest concern is if we have no jurisdiction, and this is in the county, is the traffic gonna be worse in the county or city? If we have no jurisdiction.
And then on another note, y'all are talking about the QT, so just learning from how these companies work, we were able to turn down QT, but from my understanding, they're going across the highway now, so kind of like what Walmart said, is they saw the land they wanted, was to say the next company's not gonna want the city and bring something we don't want, like a data center or something else that we don't really want. So we have farm real estate, commercial. Somebody's coming in, so, I mean, I don't know if we could stop Walmart possibly, but someone else is gonna wanna come, because QT's a prime example, like y'all stated. They're gonna go across the highway now, is what I've heard. I I mean, it's a prime location and they want that intersection. And then, I think your expertise was traffic flow, right? From the private sales, trigger stuff.
On Ms. Blossom's point of the annexation, one thing I want to clarify, I'm not swinging to anybody, just want to bring the fact that by annexing the property, the city has a seat at the table, and we can enforce city code standards. We can ask for improvement, we can dictate some of the course of the construction. By not annexing the property, we have no voice.
Yeah.
We be at the mercy of the county. And normally, county standards, I believe, are lower than our city standards.
But the point of county, is there even any zoning? Is
The
there zoning?
county doesn't have the same zoning regulations as us, they pretty much, we will have the, whatever business goes in that place, if they de-annex, they will build, we will inherit the headache, the call from the residents complaining about traffic, bad roadways, we have we will not recollect any revenues to make any improvements, or have any saying in what the improvements have to be made to that road.
Yeah.
But that's just the annexation, regardless of coming to the area.
That's just the first step, annexation.
Complaining about a county road.
That will give us a good chance to sit at the table and.
Yeah.
Just as a reminder, the property is in Gerald's CCN, and so even if even if you do not choose to annex, you're still gonna have to provide water and wastewater to them. So a reminder as well.
Yeah, CCN is a wastewater, and so we will have to provide them wastewater regardless.
You just don't get any property taxes or anything.
Kind of like the data center.
Are we providing wastewater, or is that going through Sonterra?
We process it, I think.
Right, we process on the end, but who's providing the service, is it Sonterra or us?
They will use the Centerra lines to get to our treatment plant. We build them for processing the service.
I agree with the concern, my fear is, so,
Yeah, absolutely.
that's my fear.
We need to have some say.
Any further discussion? I'll accept a motion to. Next one.
I'm gonna motion to approve ordinance number 2025-101404, for the voluntary annexation as submitted.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor in a second. No further discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Unanimous?
Here, I apologize, I'm gonna go on longer. This has been a very heavy discussion and hard decisions. I'm going to respectfully ask that we table 4-2 to 4-4 and give us more time to process these decisions. There's a lot of discussion as it relates to taxes, a lot of discussion as it relates to sewer and water. I'm just not comfortable, me personally, I'm gonna motion to remove those 3 items at this time.
I'll second that.
Council, just a reminder, since it was scheduled for a public hearing, I would advise allowing people if they want to speak on the public hearing portion, and you can table it and bring it back. But I would open the public hearing on 4.2 and 4.4, since you thought, we can bring those back later, but since the public hearing was advertised, people may be here to speak, and I would go ahead and open that.
All right, agenda item 4.2, we're gonna open a public hearing. Discuss, consider, and take possible action regarding ordinance number 2025-1014-03. An ordinance to change the zoning designation from agriculture to highway commercial. C3 on property described as being .548 acre tract of land situated in the Isaac Bunker Survey. Abstract number 54, City of Gerald, Williams County, County Road 313, and Cemetery Road. Variable width, public right-of-way, dedication and being all of a called 14.238 acre tract described as tract 1 and special warranty deed, gift deed to Jacqueline Allison recorded in document number 2000808 6839 in the official public records of Williams County, Texas. So we'll call that last part I had, to just discuss Walmart. It says one name, Bamba. Anybody in here? Okay. Okay, with that, we're gonna close this public hearing. Good, take me that.
Yes, sir.
We'll go through.
4.2 and 4.2 consecutively.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor to table items 4.2, 4.3, and we have a second. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Unanimous. Agenda item 4.4, we're gonna open a public hearing to discuss, consider, and take possible action regarding ordinance number 2025-1014-05, an ordinance authorizing the release of the right-of-way situated in the Isaac Bunker Survey, abstract number 54, the City of Gerald and Williamson County. Road number 313 and Cemetery Road, also known as Hugh Smith Lane. Okay, we don't have any further public comments on this, so we're going to close that public hearing.
Motion to table 4.4. Second.
We have a motion on the floor to table 4.4. And a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. It's unanimous. Agenda item 4.5, conduct a public hearing. Discuss, consider, and take possible action regarding ordinance number 2025-1014-06, requesting for voluntary annexation of property described as being 150.92 acre tract of land in the Nathaniel Moore Survey, abstract number 410, Williams County, Texas. Said 150.92 acre tract of land being all of that called 150.977 acre tract of land, recorded in document number 2002046-521, the official public records of Williams County, Texas. Public hearing is now open. We do have some cards here. We will start with those who would like to go right now. I'll accept them, but typically we need them before the meetings.
Oh, sorry.
Okay. Give us one second while people shift around. Noise, we like to hear what you have to say. We're not really allowed to respond. We're not really allowed to interact. Okay, you can continue.
Hello, my name is Jenny Roberts Axelrod. I live at 120 here in Callahan in eastern section, so I'm outside of the city limits. And it's my understanding that this particular item involves the data center property. And I just want to put my vote or whatever it is. And again, I understand the property is already bought and owned by the people that want to build this, so they're going to be able to do whatever they want to do. But I would love to see it get annexed and maybe zoned for a bunch of residential or zoned for something else, because I think they could build this data center somewhere else just as well as they can do it here. That's what I would say.
Thank you. Okay. Anybody else filled out a public comment card that would like to speak?
I'm sorry, I had to make notes, just so I don't forget something. My name's Melissa Busick. I live over in Sunterra. I understand that this is obviously city of Jarrell. However, I did want to point out that I also have grandkids that live here in Sunterra who will be going to the high school. 4 out of my 7 blood grandchildren are autistic. I want you to remember the word see if I can pronounce it, thalidomide, that everybody said was, and this may be, I don't know, before most of your time, was supposed to have been safe. What about Roundup, when they used to tell us that as soon as it dried, the cows could eat it because it was safe, but now people are getting cancer? What about Tylenol that's in the news now, and they keep telling you that this and that problem could arise from the Tylenol use? What I hate to think is that all those kids that are going to be in the high school 10 years from now are going to be looking up your names and saying, why did you guys allow this to come here? Now, I know that it's not really under your control, so I'm also speaking to the developers, how they feel about that. There's about 600 people that have signed a petition who obviously aren't here tonight against having a data center in this location. Now, I don't know where they live. I assume that they all live in Jarrell, and maybe a lot of them have kids that, once again, will be going to the high school, not just living right next to something like this. But I understand that you guys, the reason why you want to annex it is to have some control over that property, maybe for zoning, maybe for how the build goes. But I'm hoping that perhaps some other type of business could go into that property, and hoping that the developers might consider something like that versus putting something like this right next to a high school. And I've heard people say, well, you know, I've worked with these things for years, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, but you're not a developing brain in a high school around these things, and what's going to be the outcome down the road. I just really hate to think that this could be another problem. And once again, like I said, I've already got 4 out of my 7 blood grandchildren with autism. We don't need additional problems on top of it. The other question I was just curious if somebody might address later was, why are there 2 things? One is business park and one is lighted industrial, when I thought the zoning board talked about light industrial? That's just something I'm curious about.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, yeah.
Hi, I'm Amanda Williams.
I am a resident of Gerald, Texas. I live at 101 Citation, fellow Midlander, Odessa. I am here to oppose the rezoning to the light industrial park. I am a bit confused because the developer's LinkedIn website has this listed as a done deal practically. So I'm not quite sure where that comes from. Apparently we have no say because they've already done all their work and are ready to do what they need to do. I don't know where they're getting that impression or who they got that impression from, but I would like to speak up and say that I find it very concerning that you would park that next to a high school, very close to residential areas. There's neighborhoods very close to that. I could send you statistics. I'm not going to quote them because we don't have enough time, but there's not one good set of data out there that says a light industrial park doesn't impact students' learning negatively. I get up on Saturday mornings, I hear that band practicing, and while I know people say it's not noisy, it's not silent, I wonder if the band will be able to hear the correct tones and the correct notes that they need to get for their competitions. I wonder if children with ADD, even with minute noise, will be able to concentrate on their reading and their math. I do not see how this is a wise decision for your future generations. I also think it will devalue, and I think it will dequalify, ruin the quality of life for the residential neighborhoods around it. I think you'll see property values plummet. I think you will see people say, I will not give to Gerald. If I knew that data mining center was going to be parked there, I can guarantee you I never would have bought my home. Never would have bought it. And I can imagine outsiders will go, I'm not competing with that for my children's education, for my quality of life in my backyard. It's too close for comfort. I know the speech or the talk is, well, if we don't get their money, Williamson County will. Then I would say let Williamson County get that money. Even looked at the data, and you can do ChatGPT, you can do Google, you can do whatever about the money that cities receive from these data mining centers and how it benefits them. And most of the data is the cost is too much. The water usage, the high energy costs, the infrastructure damage, it's at too much of a cost of the money that you will receive. I know Williamson County could probably approve it, and I would say send Williamson County to me. They're elected officials just like y'all are. Your name will be stigmatized by the approval by this. I know the community is vehemently against it. So I would just say, don't let Gerald be that town. Gerald is primo property, guys. It is. It sits on a beautiful piece of land. It doesn't need their money to get by. You have Walmart coming in, which means other things will come in to support this town and grow it in the right way. So I'm hoping you hear my voice. Thank you.
Okay. 8. You can go after him.
Hi, I'm William Busick, that's my better half, so what she said, I agree. First off, I had emailed a bunch of you guys stuff, and some of your emails work and some of them don't, about a week or so ago, with a bunch of stuff from MIT, Michigan, University of Michigan, a link to a video on Facebook called Living in the Shadow of Bitcoin. I'm not against industry, I'm not against, times are changing. This thing's gonna come in, having you guys have control over it, having some say in what's coming versus them just doing it anyway, which they would do, is a good thing. For me, the big thing is the noise. And I was at the zoning meeting, and one fellow gentleman said that, he had gone to the one down in Georgetown, and, in the middle of the day, you didn't hear anything. Well, that's because there's street noise, and there's birds singing, and there's every other activity that's going on. So yeah, you don't hear it in the middle of the day when things are happening around you. It's in the night. And if you guys haven't watched that video called Living in the Shadow of Bitcoin, you really need to watch it. Because the impact on the health of the people up in Granbury suffers tremendously off of this. And what designs can be done or what ordinances you guys are looking to look into as far as decibel levels for sound and how that's gonna be enforced and things like that. I think you need to take a really hard look at that. So that's the first point I just wanted to make. The sound to me is the biggest thing, especially next to the high school. The second thing is, once this infrastructure is built, even if these guys annex, I would not be surprised if they're already looking at adjoining pieces of property that they will not be annexing, that are going to be building out a whole compound of these other additional data centers. Once the transmission lines are in, once the natural gas is there, once the high-speed internet is all in place, it's going to be a building around it. It's going to be what they call clustering. And you can look up in any other cities where the first one comes in and what happens around it, it's not going to be the only one. And my concern is the other ones coming in behind them are not going to annex. You're going to see no revenue whatsoever, and we're going to bear the brunt of it. And I don't know what you guys can do going forward to do something with adjoining properties that kind of put some restrictions on, we can't just let this stuff come in. That's my bigger concern. I don't live over there. Like my wife said, we live in Sonterra. We moved out here because we could see cows in the pastures around us. We started in Austin, we ended up in Round Rock, and we just keep on moving out, and everything keeps following us. And so it's probably my fault that this is coming in, but, don't have your heads in the sand and don't think that this is the only one, this little one that they're gonna put in, because right behind the little one, and we don't even know who's coming in to occupy this. These guys are the developers. They're getting the approvals, they're getting the permits, they're buying the land. They're gonna get whatever they're gonna get out of you guys, and whoever's coming in to build this, we don't know. Is it Google? Is it NSA? Is it federal? If federal comes in, what controls over do we have if the federal government says that's a federal facility and we need all your electricity, we need all your water, we need everything else is going in there? So again, I don't envy your position, but having control over what's coming into me is better than no control. And, not against the woman who spoke just before me, but if you guys don't have control, they're coming in anyway. That's my 2 cents.
Thank you.
Sorry, it's been a long day. About 6 this morning. Okay, some of you already know me. I don't support the data centre in that location. I do support data centres because AI is the way of the future. That's not a problem. I'm going to ask you one question. What's more important? Dollars for taxes or the health and welfare of our kids that are in that high school down here? I'm not prepared to make that choice, and I don't think anybody in this room should be. If you look at all the research that's going on now, every day there's more. Because what we're in is a situation where nobody has a clue about AI centres and data centres. And the consortium that came, that was the most amateur presentation I've ever seen. Compare that to Walmart. It was on a different level. They had a little picture with some writing on it, they had a map. What else? One of them was almost laughing at us. They don't know what they're doing. This is the first time they've done this. Do we want somebody to come in? Do you want somebody to come in and fix your new BMW who's only worked on Lego? No. These guys I don't trust. They don't even have a tenant for this. And as the previous speaker said, who knows who it could be. The other thing too is that it is too close to a school. I listened to planning and zoning, and 2 of the members went and visited and said we don't hear anything. It was quiet. You're not there when all of the generators kick in because they have to go off grid because we've got a crisis. That happens in summer, it happens in winter. Under Texas legislation, these centres can't use it when we're in stress. So they use their generators, be they gas, electric, they cause pollution. One last thing, the cooling system, they have to supercool them. The supercooling has chemicals in them that are called forever chemicals. They are carcinogenic. Have we got answers from them as to what they use? What I would say to you as a council, yeah, you need to annex it so you have some control. I've got a problem with that. But you need to be asking the hard questions, and I'm happy to help people do that. I've been involved in environmental studies and natural resource management for over 50 years on 3 different continents. And I've seen this happen in other places. I don't like the way it goes, and I know you guys care about this community. And that's what I'm asking. Care about it, Let's look after our kids, let's look after our residents, and let's do the right thing and hold this consortium accountable. Because right now, I don't see any accountability in them. All right, that's all I want to say. Thank you.
Thank you. We have one more, Deanne Acton. Good evening.
Hi, I'm Deanne. My son goes to Gerald High School. I actually live in Coolwater. So I feel like this whole process has been really problematic from the very beginning. I mean, the first time I saw something was just a video like randomly on TikTok. That told me enough to where I started a Facebook group and I started collecting people around who were also against this data center. Because I knew nothing. I knew enough about data centers because I'm also someone who's very much interested in environmental justice and wanting to make sure that things are, good for all of us so that we can, I have kids, so I want them to be able to live a long life. So I was definitely concerned. I'm not completely against AI. I think a lot of it's stupid, but I do think that there's a lot of good uses for it too, like detecting cancers and some pretty amazing things. I think that it's moving too fast, and I don't think that there's anything in terms of sustainability, which is a problem. In South Texas right now, they're currently undergoing a crippling drought. I don't know if y'all know this. With water shortages caused by city officials excitedly partnering with massive corporations without thinking about how those deals would impact the residents, the land, and its resources. Corpus Christi, for example, stated recently that their main water providers are tapped out. That's a problem. Especially here, I can't even water my lawn. My lawn looks terrible. I mean, it's not good. In other countries, they're working really hard to figure out ways to deal with data centers, like building them underwater even, figuring out other ways to kind of energize backup generation. We don't have any of that right now. There was something in place in terms of where we build these things. There was an executive order previously that asked that we look into paying attention to something called the National Ambient Air Quality Standards, and not building anywhere where the air quality is already bad, right? Gerald has bad air quality already. It's not good. I don't know if y'all have all seen that data. I was surprised when I saw the data. It's bad. I'm sure it's worries and other stuff, but it's bad. The only reason why it can be is because that was rescinded. But that was an important rule that was put into place to protect communities. And I'm also really concerned too, because like I said, I am very much into the idea of environmental justice. This high school is primarily kids of color, and I have to wonder if this would be happening next to a white high school. I do have to wonder that, And I also don't think that y'all recognize what this legacy is for y'all. If something happens with these kids, this will be your legacy. Do you want that legacy? So I'm asking you, please think about what you're doing. And I don't have, that meeting that we had, I don't have any feeling that these people are going to do what y'all want them to do. I feel like the minute that you push back on anything that they ask, they could quickly unannex and do whatever the hell they want anyway. Excuse my language, but I feel like that could happen. And so I just don't feel like this is good. I want us to be more like College Station that fought against data centers and won. I want us to be like that. Thank you.
Okay, with that, we are finished with public comments. Any questions? So I'm going to close the public hearing and then this is step one on a lot of steps here. So typically we say annexation, we typically do it. So.
The same concept as prior.
Correct.
With that being said, I'll make a motion to approve ordinance number 2025-1014-06 as presented.
Second.
We have a motion on the floor and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay.
Nay.
Okay. Approved 4-1. Agenda item 4.6, we're going to open a public hearing to discuss, consider, and take possible action regarding ordinance number 2025-1014-07, an ordinance to change the land use designation from neighborhood to business park on property described as the 150.92 acre tract of land located in the Nathaniel Moore Survey, abstract number 410, Williamson County, Texas. 750.92 acre tract of land, being all of that, 150.977 acre tract of land, recorded in document number 200246521 in the official public records of Williamson County. And we are finished with our public comments, so. I'm gonna go ahead and close this public comments and open it up to discussion.
So, I understand changing it from neighborhoods to business park, so that at least gets that land, that property in a zone where businesses could come, correct? Correct. So by just, going forward with that motion, or approving it, that doesn't say we're for the data center.
Rezoning, annexation of rezoning doesn't mean that you are approving the project. You're just allowing that, that land to be used within that classification.
What's in our master plan for that lot?
Right now, they're not in the city limits, they're in city limits now.
Oh, that's
officially.
Yes.
But they were previously tried to be zoned for SF3 and they got turned down, so they have no classification right now. And they come back requesting to be zoned as a business park.
But in the master plan that was put together, wasn't that area viewed as residential? Even though it's up against a rock quarry, which.
Yes.
But I mean, that was all residential, that was our.
It's correct.
It's my understanding the residential, development was proposed and then it didn't go through. What happened there?
The residential development was an SF3 was highly dense and it would require a couple things. It was a highly dense area. It will demand a huge amount of water, more than the weather proposed right now. And he now went, planning and zoning, he now went, have a budget, he received a budget position in the public. And then the developer decided to retreat the application and come back with a different idea, which is what we're seeing right now.
So was it never an option to go with an SF2 or, larger lots? Were they not interested in developing larger lots as opposed to cramming all the houses in?
They are the one requesting the zone, we cannot impose the zone on them.
Right.
But if it was a larger lot, less dense, we do have the capability of it at that point, right?
It would have to go to a feasibility study just like every other neighborhood. No matter which type of development the city received since I came to work with the city, regardless of the development or the size, you have to go to a water and wastewater feasibility study. That will dictate if we have the capacity and what improvement have to be made prior for you to build whatever you choose to build in that piece of property.
I guess my last question, the dumping of the coolant into our wastewater system. As we just heard, now obviously I'm not an engineer, I'm not a chemist, but I'm assuming everything that's added to water is probably not good for us. How does that affect us into our system? Let's just say it is carcinogenic before, okay. Goes into our system, then we're dumping it down Danu through bars and all that. I mean,
before they dump into our system, they have to meet DCEQ standards. So that means if the discharge of that water does not meet DCEQ standard, they have to pre-treat it before it gets into our system. And then when it gets to our plant, it gets treated again before it gets dumped. So there are the checkpoints before it gets into the grid. Another thing that being required them to be DCEQ is that anybody can report to DCEQ and they will, DCEQ can show and make an audit on them.
I guess I'm just more concerned, I don't know that we have any businesses here dumping chemicals like that into our system. You know, eventually that water winds up being somebody else's drinking water, and while they have to meet standards, how many municipalities around here have dumped raw sewage into waterways? Which raw sewage is probably is biodegradable, let's just call it what it is, but chemicals, so, I mean, have we looked at that from a state standpoint?
I can't speak for every data center, they operate differently.
No, I'm talking about just dumping the chemicals into our system, have we looked at that?
No, we haven't, because we don't, I don't, honestly, we don't have all the information. If right now, we're in the talks of annexation, really high level, we haven't gone into the details of what it takes. Let me play the scenario, I'm not saying go for it. Let's say we annex and we decide to go through with the project. They will have to go to a plan review just like everybody else. Their plans will go, we have to be inspected by our water consultant, by our site consultant. So
Right, no, I understand, but we're looking at changing zoning, so isn't, just like QT was able to move in because they met the zoning. So there's no stopping it there,
Correct.
So my concern is that developer came up here and he told us he went to wherever he went and he asked, like, Walmart interested in us? He said no, because Walmart's not interested in being at that location, so it's a different problem as far as if we don't want them, what can go there. And I feel like the residents now given a choice between a data center and a high concentration of homes, I think they're gonna go the other way. When we originally said, do you guys want more homes, they didn't know it, or a data center, that's why they kind of shot it down, and of course the water and all the concerns that we always have. So I feel like we're kind of in the same position, but at the same time, that developer even said, like, we'll have to find somebody to go there. We found a data center, so. And I understand it's all about capital at the end of the day, because they're a business for profit. But I don't think we have the same exact problem of someone's gonna go there because it's such a hot commodity. It's not, it's, you know, do we put a data center there or something else gonna wanna come there that's not dumping into our water like we just mentioned, so.
one thing I want to clarify, again, just zoning and regulations. They're the owners of the land.
Exactly.
They can be annexed from a city. We cannot dictate to them what they're gonna build in it. They can be annexed and build in SF3, they can be annexed and build in SF2, they can be annexed and build a multi-story building. Right now, we have some, by annexing, we have a saying at the table. Just like every annexation that will come in front of us from this point on, it will give the city a seat at the table.
Right, and we just voted to annex.
Correct.
And that's fine, we're
To the
discussing
point-
zoning.
Correct, but to the point that he's saying, like, they can be annexed and then go under county regulations, we have no zoning ordinance like ours, and still build what they want.
And the county can provide them with all the services that the city.
They are in our water and wastewater CCM, we'll have to provide them those services.
I also want to clarify, because we've got two items here. The first one that you're considering now is changing the land use designation from neighborhoods to business park.
Right.
So it's a little different than the zoning. This is the big over umbrella. And then your next item, if you pass this item, your next item will be the actual zoning designation, if that makes sense. So this is just kind of your overall map that you're looking at to change from neighborhood to business park. And then the next item is very specific zoning, if you choose to move forward on that. Just trying to clarify a little bit. You have a question?
Well, so it's just becoming clear that if we say, no, we don't wanna, like, let's say we don't wanna change the zoning because we don't want a data center or whatever, it doesn't really matter because it's gonna happen
They could.
one way or the other. They could, they
It
may
could be
not.
yes. They may
but-
find, if you say, no, you gotta stay neighborhoods, they could find somebody to go there that fits that land use designation. Or they could choose to de-annex and work with the county.
Because what do they need to make this property happen? What do they need to make this property happen? Water?
Water
and
and
wastewater.
wastewater. But because they're in RCCN, regardless in city limits or not, we have to provide the service.
Is the developer here tonight?
Yes.
Yes.
And you're welcome to support it.
Do you have any comments that y'all would like to?
We're happy to answer any of the questions that you guys may have. For horizontal developers, so it doesn't really matter what the project itself is. We capitalize on the land itself and take it for what it's worth. I'm a sixth-generation Texan, been here my whole life. Obviously not here in Gerald, and our family's contributed deeply to the state, and we're here to pro-growth the economics of the state of Texas. So that's what we do day in and day out.
So here's a question. I know you've done a lot of work. I remember you said you were just looking for something, right? You asked everybody told you no. Are you opposed to possibly, if the community receives it better, going back to the old plan of the houses?
Yes.
You are willing to do that?
No, not all of that. I am receptive. No, we've done.
It's a lot of money.
We lost a lot of time and a lot of money.
I imagine that's the case.
Which is more important than kids' health. FYI.
So.
Yes,
So there's a question now.
definitely.
Are you able to address the coolant dumping? Are you aware of any of that?
Right, it is not tied into any type of city sewer. These are closed loop cooling systems, and every 5 to 6 years that those fluids are swapped out and follow hazmat routes and trucking routes. I mean, that's not something that's ever tied in to city services. You're talking about bathrooms and water fountains is what's tied into there.
We started there because during the public meeting we had at the community center, y'all said that it would be dumped into our system.
No.
I don't think I'm losing my mind, but we were discussing that, and that came up that it would go into our sewer system. So now it's.
No, it's always been a closed loop system. We can go back to the, I mean, it's all.
I've never used the notes.
Yeah, probably is, so.
And that, hence, the closed loop system, that is why we're able to decrease the water volume as well, that we explained.
You understand our concern. Because I have to live here, y'all are gonna move on to the next city. I'm stuck here, I'm a multi-generational also, and I grew up on a farm, and I do see what Roundup does. So 3 years ago, it was safe, today we're done with cancer. So I have to listen to these people here, and they do have a valid point. So if you're saying it is never gonna be dumped into our sewer system, period, the end. That's what we're saying?
Correct.
And it gets trucked out of here, it's somebody else's problem.
Correct. It goes to a processing facility, and ultimately the shells of the world that develop this coolant, that they have their own permits for disposal and reclamation processes that they have to go through as the owner of the chemical.
And then, so some of the rumors going around, and they just kind of put it up, they said that there's a second one planned already. Like, is that true? Are you guys?
I mean, we own properties all throughout Williamson County, Caldwell County, Hayes County, so.
They were saying one in Gerald, is that?
Well, I mean, we call Gerald, Lockhart, I mean, whether it's Caldwell County or North Williamson County, I mean, we view it all the same, but in terms of the property that we own, it is not within, the city limits of Gerald.
Do you have anything in RTJ?
We do. We've got, we collectively own about 4,000 acres
Is it
throughout
proposed
Central
for
Texas.
same or similar use?
We haven't gone down that path yet with the city.
Where is it in relation to the current proposal?
In terms of, like, it's
location?
on, right off of, I-35 over behind the, I guess, trailer park, mobile home park.
I'm not opposed to people enacting, use of property that's yours, that's your rights, I understand it too. We're in a bad position with a lot of the concerns that we're faced with. Of course, it makes our service very difficult, but, I'm gonna ask the same question I asked of the prior. Is it your intent to proceed with or without annexation and/or these credentials that you put before us?
We're at the point where we're gonna continue forward. There's been too much capital time
And I
and
appreciate
investment into
your
that.
honesty.
I'm not gonna lie to you.
I mean, I
Yeah.
appreciate your feedback and your honesty.
So just me personally, I just, kind of like what Walmart did, they did a bigger feel like citizens don't feel confident in y'all fulfilling your position. Like I said, we still have questions. I think the biggest part, people are still concerned about the noise, is there an optimal way? Because most people aren't educated in data centers. This is your first one, so I guess you don't have like a track. Is there a way to muffle the sound?
Yes, and I mean, that's where we get at, we're horizontal guys, so we bring our third-party teams that are specialized in these different sectors, so whether if it's multifamily or single family, or we've done regular industrial, light industrial, whatever it may be, we bring the top guys from around wherever it may be to be on our team. So Dutch Wilkins, who was here last week, as well as our Q&A with you guys, answered that question where there is a muffler system on there where it doesn't go past that 55 decimal points, that it stops at the property line.
I'm sorry.
Well, I understood Walmart, and I know that you're, coming, and you want the annexation. What's the purpose for the annexation? If.
What is that, a new shipment of
What provides the purpose behind?
We met originally with the county commissioner, and we made her, a promise that we would do our best to contribute to Gerald. She sees it as a place in Williamson County that needs more economic impact for growth, and that was a conversation we had close to hers.
And so you've never been involved in the development of a data center?
We're not gonna be involved on the
but
vertical side of this either way, but.
when you say horizontal, you're just, tell me your position. I haven't met you.
We've built the electrical infrastructure and we've installed the generation, either a backup or as primary, and then we've connected those to the grid. So the electrical infrastructure, but the end user typically has the say in what I call the campus, the actual building or structure in and of itself. We just deliver power to that building.
We're not aware of who's gonna occupy it, correct? We're just trying to build it.
We've got a handful of LOIs right now that we're vetting to proceed to contract.
I think you mentioned last time, there's some that want annexation, and then there are some that are kind of indifferent, so.
So this would set it for, it would be prior to whoever you work with.
So anything you agree with the city, say sound ordinance, everything, the entity that comes in and occupies will be bound to those agreements?
Correct.
As well as any state TCEQ emission standards, all of your normal ordinances, they all have to follow ordinances.
Do you have anything to say to the concerns of the people that spoke this evening, the health issues, the sound of the school being so close? I mean, do you have any knowledge or information to provide on that?
I believe we submitted answers to a lot of the Q&A last time in regards to other locations within communities near schools, and there were comparable studies as well. I mean, we see both sides of the information fence as well online. But I mean, we
And in terms of the layout, the property naturally presents itself. I mean, the whole eastern part of the property is in a floodplain, so we will be closer to the quarry, just due to obviously the floodplain itself.
I know, but you really didn't answer my question. Do you have any knowledge of the impact on learning and behavior and all of that, being that close to a school? Do you have any knowledge?
Yes, as I stated earlier, in terms of the decimal levels will not reach past our property line in the direction of the school, so the noise itself will not have any impact on the school.
So you're saying they won't even be able to hear it inside the building?
No. It's just like, it's literally like you're going over to Brookshire across the street. I mean, it has to be, and meet those decibel levels.
Commercial
Just like a commercial building standard.
So physically, the buildings would be closer to the quarry over here?
Yes, sir. Naturally, the floodplain is about 35 acres that hugs our eastern boundary.
So So what is it that will be, I mean, what is it that will be closest to the school? What part of this facility will be closest to the school?
In terms of on that property line?
Yes.
There won't be, I mean, there's a 100-year flood line that is all down our eastern property line that goes over across 47 and down through. So, I mean, even if we want to, we can't build in the flood line.
So you're saying that'll just be open land?
Correct, and that was in terms of, I think we did light industrial, what was the other zoning for that? What we're gonna do, zoning for the
The housing was at SF3.
Yeah.
From your projected building where it's gonna be, do you know approximately, the distance between?
1,700 feet to the nearest residential and 2,200 feet to the nearest school.
And in terms of the nearest residential, it's Mr. John, I actually talked to him today, and he actually sent us an approval letter to the city, and he's our closest neighbor.
What was it to the school?
2,200 linear feet. These are just provide examples of other data centers in this area where data centers were closer to residential and school areas.
And so you don't think I'm one-sided here. I see the benefit of removing 700 homes, 1,400 cars, et cetera, et cetera. And the fact that there's a rock quarry right there, which I'm assuming your generators will be sucking up all the dust and filtering our air for us, take care of air quality problems. You're gonna build it whether we say yes or no. That's fact of the matter.
But I think that being said, we're here, we continue to be here and continue to answer and work with the city.
Right.
I mean, it's not that we're not stiff-arming you guys in any way or trying to be disrespectful, it's just a business decision at this point that we have to go forward with for numerous reasons.
Well, it makes it easier, right?
Right.
More streamlined. We could fight you and spend years trying to fight you. Y'all spend a bunch of money and we spend a bunch of money, which I don't think is beneficial to any of our residents to spend money trying to fight y'all, so.
With that much open land that you can't do anything on, is there any benefit for the city, i.e. park space, green space, anything like that?
We've discussed that.
We discussed landscaping and parking.
And we've also discussed dedicating that to the city if the city wanted to own, manage, maintain, but if not, we'll do that on our dime.
Okay. That's all here on this eastern side.
Oh, yeah, then, okay.
Any other questions for these gentlemen, or?
And just to be clear for the public, there's nothing else that's gonna go there, there's no other option, we've already, like you said, because that's too much money, it's a data center. There's no other, like how you went from housing, it's not gonna, you can't go from data center to anything else, correct?
It's the time that we invested from the first side to the second, to where we are now on the horizontal side.
You're not changing it,
We're not changing.
you're not changing it, it is a data center, it is what it is. Well, I guess, just me personally, I can't speak for the rest of the council. The citizens have heard what you said, if you're gonna move forward and we do annex you land, you seem to be willing to listen to the citizens. I would imagine if you're gonna be able to create a best case scenario from the community, because a lot of people do have concerns, you can address them if you guys are coming anyway, as far as testing, make sure that communicate, when I hear there's no communication, we just look online. You guys are evil, right? So, I mean, everybody deserves a chance, I guess. And if you guys can change the image of what a data center is, probably be better for other companies. I don't know, but I'm just saying, if you guys are looking forward, I would just ask you to be fully transparent and listen to citizens, possibly change the view of data centers. If y'all are willing to do that, seems like you guys are, you're still here, so, but most people, I I don't know their experiences with data centers, but it seems like you said, we're here, we wanna do good, and then they ghost them, so I just pray that you guys are moral character and keep your word and involve the community and possibly be a good thing.
I just have one quick question on notes. What was the projected decibels at your property lines roughly?
55.
At the property
That's
line.
right. Which I'm assuming that's less than what the rock quarry's doing right now.
Correct. That was in the 80s when we took some attenuation. So it was
So
80s?
80s?
85, I think it was 85.
Okay. Sorry we beat y'all up.
It's our job. Ask questions now.
Yes. As far as reaching out to the community, what would that look like? For that to go through our city staff questions, or is there gonna be phases?
So from the Q and A that we had a couple weeks ago, we did provide the city with all of the questions that were answered and asked.
Well, say going forward, you want them contacting you directly, that's probably not most effective. Would it be better to fill an email and friends or city staff?
It'd be best to go through Yvonne and Jorge.
Okay. Just trying to provide people direction on it.
I guess, Jorge, I got a quick question for you. We annex in, we change the zoning, they build, we start getting complaints. Does the city have any ability to enforce our agreements with them quickly? I mean, people start complaining about excessive noise. We got green liquid oozing out of the building, you know, so on and so forth. I mean, what as a city, or
The city does have some noise ordinance that we're working to beef it up a little bit more.
Okay.
But yes, we have ways to enforce all the regulations. And we're also hiring a full-time code enforcement agent. Just legislation changed recently, and we have to now it's required to be a licensed code enforcement.
Okay.
I heard you guys take a lot of power. Do you kind of put that on us, or do you guys already have a plan, we're gonna get the power?
We are working with the TDSPs and the utilities to supply the power. So this is coming from transmission level service that, if anything, just builds up the resiliency of the residential portion of the grid. We're on the commercial and industrial side. So we'll be tying in directly with transmission level service, whereas residential, you know, it's low voltage. It's medium and low voltage. So it's different circuits.
This water system you have won't create an aquifer?
No, we would bring outside water to stock the initial, the initial source, and then we're just working more or less off of evaporation at that point, because it is a closed loop system.
We have evaporation, where the chemicals go.
The evaporation is not with the water.
Okay. So, I mean, if we're having the top off, where's that water going to if we're having the top off? In a closed loop, where's the water disappear to with the chemicals?
It's going into the HVAC system, into the building itself, that HVAC system, which is separate from, think of the cooling bins of where the chip sets. Those sit in a dielectric fluid that is separate from the water. Good question.
And then at peak times, you guys are gonna come off the grid. I know that there's a gas line going in that area. Are you gonna utilize that gas line for power at all?
We're getting a dedicated gas line that would not impact the other services. And then we would follow SB 6 and any large flexible load requirements stated by Encore, which means in times of scarcity, the facility would curtail power and go down. So
Well,
that
just like peak times, because from the research that I've seen was some cities during peak hours when people are home, the data centers go on their own energy, not just natural disasters, but to kind of curb the electricity demand for the homeowners. Is there any plan on when it's high usage for you guys to go off grid, kind of accommodate, or do y'all plan on only for severe weather?
So depending on the classification of the commercial or industrial load, they will follow any of the Encore or PUC guidelines in terms of forced curtailment or, times of, again, scarcity before they get tripped offline themselves. Also, when power prices hit a certain point, it's no longer commercially viable. So, there's strike prices in power during those peak times where they will curtail, and it's cheaper to either go offline or convert, if it's a short enough interval, go over to backup generation.
Is that something the city enforces, or is that?
That's a utility, that's an ERCOT, that's an ERCOT metric.
Good, thank y'all for answering my question.
Thank you.
Thank you.
One question, so with this item, we're changing, would be changing it from neighborhoods to business park? What does that change actually mean? Just allows businesses to come in there? Correct. Okay. And then the zoning actually tells you what type of businesses
it will be.
can go in there?
Correct.
Okay. Just wanted to clarify.
But if we left it neighborhood, they can still go in.
Well, it would be, it would be.
They're in the county.
Oh, they would be in.
We don't have any control. They're-
Gotcha.
No control, no enforcement.
Any further discussion? Would anybody like to make a motion?
As much as I don't want to, I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 2025-1014-03.
That one is,
No, just skip the wrong one.
I'm sorry, wrong page.
My bad, I was paying attention. I'm sorry, 2025-1014-07.
a motion on the floor? We have a motion on the floor and a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed say nay. Unanimous? Okay, agenda item 4.7, we're gonna open a public hearing to discuss and consider and take possible action regarding ordinance number 2025-1014-02, change the zoning designation from agriculture to light industrial on property located on the Nathaniel Survey Abstract number 410 in Williamson County, Texas, at 150.92 acre tract of land, being all of that called a 150.977 acre tract of land, recorded in document number 200-2046521 in the official public records of Williamson County, Texas. And we are going to have any public comments with this. So I'm going to close this public hearing. So are there any limitations right now on that light industrial in terms of height and any regulations on what they can build? I know there were questions earlier on about we don't want a 5-story building over there full of chips.
It will be limited, nothing higher than the building the school has right now, the only building the school has right now. So you will not see a multi-level, like 5-story building.
Okay.
See, the planning and zoning approved 5-0. Did they have any concerns? Planning and zoning approved 5-0. But did they have any concerns or anything, was anything voiced?
Was pretty much the same concerns that some of the residents of the noise ordinances, how they're gonna be enforced, structural height. I don't know, but also the system they have, what type of cooling system they're gonna use. But like I said, we're not at that point yet, so I don't have some whole set of plans.
Right.
One point seven.
Yeah. Close the public hearing
I did close the hearing. Was there no way we could put any sort of restrictions on the zoning for just to be a data center? I would hate for them to, maybe Auntie Joe's planning, I know that y'all can build it there, but if something were to come up, and for some reason you're not able to build it, if you zone that, then technically they can put anything there, correct?
That is light, if we zone it light industrial, anything that would fall within light industrial.
Give us some example of anything.
Could be a data center, could be a small store. It would not be like a heavy equipment, operated, like the quarry. It would be something more downscale, more, calling a good question, but it's not.
Not semiconductor, right?
No,
On a big scale.
correct. That would be a good word to put it, thank you.
Light industrial means, does that limit chemicals, hazardous chemicals?
No, that's it, you just in terms of the type of business you're going to, the equipment they use, it would be on the,
We're having one more question since it comes to light industrial. Because this is gonna be happening more and more, we're gonna have more and more large business. What environmental protection do we, as a city, enforce or look out for, or is it just wall west? I.e., runoff off of paved surfaces, contaminant stuff. I mean, it's one thing to have a house and a big yard, but when you start stacking businesses, doing whatever, do we have any environmental protections that we put into place or enforce or anything?
For environmental protections. Everything goes down to the plan review and meeting DCQ and all environment. Any project that goes to the city has to go through engineering design. And engineers, by obligation, by law, they have to meet all federal and local codes for environmental quality, water quality. And once an engineer stamps a plan, he's vouching that they met all those qualifications.
That'll be something our ordinance inspector will be able to.
Even if our ordinance does not, let's wait, thank you for bringing that one. Even if a city lacks an ordinance, then it will default to the next higher level, which is the state. If the state lacks on the ordinance, then we will go to the federal level. Let's say that all three have an ordinance and you have a confusion, then you apply the most restrictive one, all three.
Okay.
Or if you create an ordinance, so.
We can have an ordinance, but we cannot make the ordinance less restrictive than the ones already in place. like, let's say, and I'm gonna throw a number of the cup, there's a federal ordinance saying that they cannot discharge more than 10 gallons per minute. I, as a city, can say, no, I'm gonna go 20. I can either match it or make it more restrictive, but not diesel.
Okay.
Any further questions? I'll accept a motion to approve, or do I need more time?
I'll make a motion to approve 2025, 10-14-19.
Okay. Have a motion on the floor. A motion on the floor and a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed say nay.
Nay.
Passes 4-1. Moving on to agenda item 4.8, discussion consideration possible action regarding a development agreement for property described as the 150.92 acre tract of land located in the Nathaniel Moore Survey, abstract number 410, Williamson County, Texas. Said 150.92 acre tract, and all of that called 150.97 acre tract of land, recording document number 200-204-6521 in the official public records of Williamson County.
When they first came to the city with the zoning with the housing project, they went to a feasibility study and we approved them for 750 LUVs. They wanted to retain that amount of LUVs for the development they're proposing right now, with the condition that any unused LUV at the final of the project, it will be returned back to the city for our disposal. They have to comply with some of the milestones listed on the cover agenda, that meeting the land use plan, annexation, the zoning, pre-planning, everything that we provide right now, plus they will have to wait for the infrastructure to be present so they can proceed.
So we're not approving a development agreement or anything right now?
No.
We're just discussing one topic. That's what I figured.
They're retaining, yeah.
And that's just for their development, like they,
Yes.
they can't
From
sell our LUEs to another development or
lesson
anything
from the
like that,
past,
right?
now any development agreement, now LUVs will be localized to the development, so they cannot bounce it, they cannot sell them, they cannot use any other development. And whatever unused amount of LUVs are at the end of the build out, automatically will return back to the city.
They won't transfer to another building if they want to do.
They're localized,
Only for that.
if it's in that, whatever they build in that piece of land, they have 750 at the build up. If 80 LUVs are left over, those LUVs will automatically revert to the city.
Do we need to take action on this? Is that just more?
It's discussion, consideration, and possible action, so y'all can approve it tonight, or you can,
What are we approving?
the development agreement for the next part,
4.8.
yeah, for the LUEs and build out the property.
Have that agreement in front of us?
If you don't have it with you, then you
Sorry,
can
yes,
just
it's a
delay.
development agreement.
I'm moving to table 4.8.
Second.
It's not included in our package.
Yeah, it's not in
We're
our
not gonna
packet.
approve something that we haven't read. At least that would help them. moving on to agenda item 4.9, we're going to conduct a public hearing. Discuss, consider, and take possible action regarding ordinance number 2025-1014-01, an ordinance to change zoning designation from a single-family suburban SF2 to general partial C2 on property described as a 6.54 acre tract of land out of the AW0054 Isaac Bunker Survey, abstract number 54 in Woods County, Texas, document number 20240957330. I believe this is one we're going to table. Yes.
Mayor, like I said on the other one, since it was scheduled for a public hearing, if you want to open that, see if anybody has anything not.
Gotcha. I'll open that public hearing. We don't have any public comments on it tonight. So I will now close that public hearing and accept a motion to table this.
I'll make a motion to table.
We have a motion on the floor and a second, table item 4.9. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Unanimous. Moving on to agenda item number 5, consent agenda items. I believe we're going to table 5.1. I will accept a motion to approve 5.2, 5.3, and 5.4.
Make a motion.
All right, we have a motion on the floor and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, moving on, agenda item 6. We're going to adjourn into executive session. Pursuant to Texas Government Code 551.071 to seek the advice of his attorney regarding a pending or contemplated litigation or a settlement offer or in a matter in which the duty of the attorney to the governmental body under Texas disciplinary rules of professional conduct of the State Bar of Texas clearly conflicts with Texas Government Code Chapter 551 to wit. A, EEOC charge number 450-2024-0682-4, complaint of Jordan Moyer Cantu. City Council is now adjourned at 9:27 p.m. The Gerald City Council is now back in session at 9:41 p.m. All right. We're in open session to consider, discuss, deliberate, and take action on any item discussed in executive session. EEOC charge number 450-2024-0682-4, complaint of Jordan Moyer Cantu. We have no action at this time. With that, no further discussion. Gerald City Council now adjourned at 9:41 p.m.